So let's talk about what things will look like if you are planning a scheduled cesarean. So first of all, cesareans can be scheduled at various times during the pregnancy. Sometimes you may schedule it very early on if you're having a repeat cesarean, or if you have some kind of anatomical or physiological problem where you know that you're going to have to give birth by cesarean. Other times cesareans may not be scheduled until very late in the pregnancy. So for example, if a woman found out, just a week or two before her due date that the baby was breached, then that could be a reason for a scheduled cesarean. So you're going to basically get a date and a time that you need to show up at the hospital and show up at that time. You should just be aware that if there's other more emergent cases happening when you get there, it's possible that you may not actually have your cesarean at the time that you were told. So you may end up having to wait a little while if there's other things going on or the unit is really busy. So you're going to show up, the nurse will start to prepare you for the surgery. So one of the ways that they're going to do that is they're going to insert an IV and start IV fluid. They're also probably going to insert a urinary catheter. They may do that when you're waiting to go for the cesarean, or they may do that once you've already received an epidural or a spinal, and you have basically less feeling, so that it's a more comfortable procedure inserting the catheter. And then the anesthesiologist and the obstetrician are both going to consent you for the cesarean. So the OB is going to review the risks and benefits of the surgery, and the anesthesiologist will review the risks and the benefits of the type of anesthesia that you're going to receive. So for most women, they're going to have an epidural or a spinal anesthesia, which enables them to be awake. So they're just going to be numb basically from here down. For women that have maybe some kind of problem with their back or other things going on, a very small percentage may actually need to be put to sleep for the procedure under general anesthesia. So whatever's happening, the anesthesiologist is going to review that with you, and then that's a time for you to ask questions, to find out if they give any additional medications in the operating room. Sometimes they will give you things to help you relax, which could make you groggy or sleepy, or they may give you medications for nausea or vomiting, and you can ask about all those things then if you have questions. And then you'll go back to the OR, usually without your partner at this time. So you'll go back just with the medical staff, and the anesthesiologist will place the epidural or the spinal, and then you will lay down on the operating table, and they're probably going to secure your arms like a T out to the side. If by chance you have discussed with your provider having a different kind of cesarean experience, they may leave one or both arms free so that you can bond with the baby, or they may secure your arms initially, but then once the baby is born, they could undo one of your arms so that you're able to have control of it. And then once they have made the first incision through the skin, that's usually when they'll bring your partner back. So they'll bring your partner in, and then usually the time from when they make that first incision to the baby being born is fairly quick, even like maybe 5 or 10 minutes. And then when the baby comes out, most of the time the baby is going to be handed to a nurse, and the nurse will probably show you your baby, assuming the baby is healthy and pink and crying. And then often the nurse will bring the baby to the baby warmer, which is in the same room most of the time. And they will suction the baby and dry the baby and just clean them off a little bit. And then if you want the baby brought to you or your partner for skin to skin or just to hold the baby, then that can happen at that time. On occasion, your provider may be open to the baby immediately going skin to skin with you in the operating room. So that's just something you'd want to talk about in advance with your provider. So once the baby is out, of course, the placenta has to come out and they have to stitch up your uterus. So usually once the baby is out, they're going to give you Pitocin, which will help to contract the uterus. Because you've had a scheduled C-section, you're not already having contractions. So you have to kind of give something, the providers have to kind of give something to your body so that you will have those contractions to reduce bleeding. And then they will deliver the placenta through the same incision, which is usually a bikini line incision, so just a bit above the pubic hairline. And then they will start the sewing up process. So that part actually takes much longer than it takes to get the baby out. Usually the stitching may take anywhere from 20 to 40 minutes depending on the provider and how well everything is going in the operating room. And then once you're all stitched up, you will go to the recovery room, usually with your baby. And if you haven't already initiated breastfeeding in the operating room and you're planning to breastfeed, this would be the time that you would start breastfeeding your baby. If by chance there was a problem with your baby's health at any time, then your baby may leave the operating room and go to either the NICU or a newborn nursery. And at that point in time, your provider or your partner could accompany them or remain with you. If you had a doula available, you could maybe have your partner accompany the baby and then the doula come into the operating room with you. Most of the area hospitals don't allow doulas in the OR, but a few of them do. So if you do have a doula, what that would change about the process is just that everything I described about the operating room and the recovery room and just prepping for the surgery, the doula would be with you through that. If they don't allow the doula in the operating room, most places will at least allow the doula in the recovery room, and so your doula can see you before and after and just kind of help to reduce anxiety about the surgery before and then help you with bonding and all of that afterward.